So we got some interesting news for you guys this week. Assassin's Creed Shadows gets punted into 2025, and Ubisoft thinks that a $50 discount is their version of an apology. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, fantastic game, but the dev team has gone poof. And it might have something to do with Sweet Baby Inc. adjusting a few too many screws. And then we got Netflix thinking that they could waltz into the AAA world with AAA dreams and promptly get a AAA boot out the door. We can talk about how Guerrilla Games traded their gritty chaos of Killzone for lush landscapes and robo-dinosaurs in Horizon, and they ain't looking back. And by the end of this video, you'll either be laughing at corporate mismanagement, or mourning the lost gems of gaming, or contemplating a career change.
Why is that?
Because apparently, even the pros can't seem to keep their studios afloat. Welcome back to the Gaming Weekly News Roundup. I'm Locus, your favorite court jester, man who doesn't let wounds fester, and pro bono Ubisoft master. Let me feel those Ubisoft. Anyways, you know the drill, hoes. Give me a nice like, scratch my back with a subscribe, and bring the vibe with a bell notification. And now let's hop into what we got this week. You gotta hand it to Ubisoft. Even on a slow news week, they still managed to find a way to let you know that they shit the bed. Ugh, I can smell it too. Assassin's Creed Shadows is a game that is so ambitious that it has been dragged kicking and screaming into 2025. For now. But wait, there's a twist. Ubisoft has decided to play the price slash game. The collector's edition just got a $50 haircut from $279.99 to $229.99 because apparently that's how you say I'm sorry for yanking away a season pass and a so-called early access. This delay, this price drop, it's a little more than Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's Ubisoft looking over their shoulder at PlayStation's Ghost of Tsushima sequel, Ghost of Yote, but given the competition at this rate, choosing between the two, it's pretty easy to see which game fans are going to end up ghosting. And it might hit like a sucker punch to the loser. Did you guys enjoy Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown? Personally, it was one of my favorite games of 2024. Well, I regret to inform you that the sand in the hourglass done drained the final grain. Apparently, any hopes for the sequel for the Metroidvania have been dashed as the team that worked on the first game has been completely disbanded. When talking to GameSpot, senior producer Abdelhak El-Ghess let us know that the team is no longer together. He's quoted in saying, "Most of the team members who worked on Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown have shifted to other projects that will benefit from their expertise." He then put out a statement on the official Prince of Persia page on X, which reads, "I'm extremely proud of our team's work and passion at Ubisoft Montpellier to create games that resonated with players and critics alike, and I am confident in its long-term success." Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is now at the end of its post-launch roadmap with free content, updates, and one DLC that released in September. We are now focusing on making the game available to more players. It was recently launched on Steam and will be available on Mac this winter. Most of the team members who worked on Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown have shifted to other projects that will benefit from their expertise. We know players have a love for this brand, and Ubisoft is excited to bring more Prince of Persia experiences in the future. According to IGN, some of those future titles include Beyond Good and Evil 2, the next Ghost Recon, and an unannounced Rayman remake, which we'll talk about a little later. At Okami13 _ on Twitter writes, "The fact that The Lost Crown reportedly only sold 300,000 copies is a real shame. It's easily the best thing Ubisoft has put out in years." And I absolutely concur with him. The one product Ubisoft ships with absolute quality in almost every front with no divisive politics did not meet sales expectations. In my eyes, this is a big L not just for customers, but for the game industry as a whole. And while I don't fully blame Ubisoft for this failure, that doesn't mean that they have no culpability in this either. Like, why are you just now releasing the game on Mac? And why wasn't the game available on the Steam store from the get-go?
I don't want peace. I want problems, always!
It's pretty clear that the marketing for this game fell flat on its face. Now, usually I tend to agree with what Gamergate 2 got going on for it. However, I feel as though that Grums, otherwise known as Mark Kern, one of the biggest voices in Gamergate 2, and one of the minds behind the original World of Warcraft, might be tilting at windmills here. He writes, Prince of Persia Studio is dead today, disbanded by Ubisoft. One look will tell you why. They went for tokenism instead of thoughtful. Same stereotyped haircut we see everywhere in AAA. Diversity can be done right, and it can be done very wrong for cheap virtue points. The hairstyle has got to go. It's a meme at this point. Quick edit. Prince of Persia did show up as a possible SBI game, that being Sweet Baby Inc., on IMDb, but it is not confirmed. At this point, all SBI titles are laying low, so we will probably never know. So, in my eyes, the game, it seems, wasn't exactly struggling under the weight of quote-unquote forced diversity. Even if such an element was intentionally woven into the fabric of the game, its presence was anything but conspicuous. Indeed, there were women portrayed in positions of power, yet their inclusion felt organic, not a contrived nod to quotas. Then there's the matter of the haircut. Admittedly, a familiar style often seen on black characters in gaming. This hardly suggested an attempt to recast Sargon as black. However, the real meat of the critique, which is somewhat glossed over, lies in the involvement of Sweet Baby Inc. If indeed they had a hand in this, then we are looking at yet another project that has fallen victim to what might call the Sweet Baby Abortion Clinic, a place where creative projects go to be, shall we say, reinterpreted by an intrusive coat hanger of diversity. But what can I say? I'm a results guy. The head honcho over at Baldur's Gate 3, let's just call him the publishing chief, didn't just throw shade at Ubisoft, he threw the entire Shadow Realm. Here's a quote that's got everybody buzzing. If gamers need to get used to not owning games, developers must get used to not having jobs.
Developers.
But talk about it, glass elbow to the jaw. The idea that gamers should just quote-unquote get used to not owning games, that's like telling a fish to get used to living on the land. And now, the gauntlet has been thrown. Developers, take note. Your jobs might just depend on how you navigate this new terrain, because if owning games becomes a thing of the past, your career just might follow suit. Oh, by the way, why aren't you guys following me on Twitch? By this time the video that comes out, we will have gotten the Platinum Trophy in the Silent Hill 2 remake, in my channel's 12 months, 12 Platinum Trophies challenge, and you will have missed it. And if you can't tell by how I reply to every comment, I love interacting with you guys, even if it's the occasional negative comment. And I would love to do it with you guys in real time. The link is in the description. I just want to thank you guys for liking and sharing this channel. We just passed 100 subs, and I just want to extend my gratitude to all of you for making this small channel make such strides in such a short amount of time. Let's keep it going. Gamers, rise up. The saga of Guerrilla Games, where once upon a time, the dark corridors and the gritty warfare of Killzone reigned supreme. But as the saying goes, all good things must come to an end. Or, in this case, a complete pivot. Guerrilla Games hit the kill switch on Killzone. Roy Postma, the art director who's been with Guerrilla since the year 2000, and that's before the launch of PlayStation 2, by the way, spilled the beans on why they traded their heavy boots for the open world wonders of Horizon. We're done with it as a team, he declared, signaling the end of an era. The studio, seemingly tired of the bleak, violent narrative of Killzone, decided it was time for a change. They wanted something that spoke to all ages, something about finding your place in the world, not just blasting through it, which is kind of unfortunate. So, what did they do? They jumped ship to Horizon, with its lush landscapes and greener pastures embracing a brighter, more inclusive world. And you know what? It worked. Horizon became a massive hit, showing that there's life beyond the war-torn futures of Killzone. Meanwhile, fans of the old school are left kind of wondering if Killzone will ever get a revival. But with Guerrilla's new direction, it seems as though that they've hung up their laser rifles for good. Or at least until someone decides to pick up the mantle. Maybe it's just time for all of us to accept that sometimes a team just needs to paint on a different canvas, or perhaps, in this case, look towards new horizons. Alright guys, here comes Lin-Manuel Manuel. Is it Manuel? Here comes Lin-Manuel Miranda, the soy boy who could make me root for a tax audit. Wading through the gamer swamp with all the grace of a bull in a china shop, he has decided to remake The Warriors, but not any just remake. Oh no. It's a concept album where he flipped the genders. And his inspiration, well, this is a gamer channel, so I will let you know that it is Gamergate. According to him, it is a tale of quote-unquote terminally online dudes, end quote, terrorizing any gal who decided to play video games and turning it into some grand narrative of empowerment. Oh no, let's not make this about ethics and game journalism. Let's take no accountability whatsoever and demonize people that just want their hobbies left alone and free of all the divisive politics that have marred it within the past decade or so. I swear to God, Racer X, once you sit on the dildo-infused saddle of the high horse of Hollywood, it's almost as though you lose all touch of reality. Are you guys excited to be demonized by a stupid fucking musical that's probably gonna suck? Let me know in the comments. Did you guys know that Netflix has a gaming studio? Well, neither did I. I guess I should say had a gaming studio. Netflix, the stream service that has been shoving everything from cooking shows to documentaries about space into your living room, decided to take a swing at the AAA gaming scene with their quote-unquote Team Blue studio.
Let me in! Let me in!
They pulled in big shots from the gaming world, folks who've had their hands in Halo, Overwatch, and even God of War. But check this out. After all that hype and probably a mountain of cash, they've shut it all down. Netflix has thrown in the towel on this one, deciding that maybe video games aren't their turf after all. So what does this mean? It's like watching someone trying to jump into the deep end of the pool without knowing how to swim. They had big names, the dreams of making some groundbreaking multi-device game, but in the end, it was all for naught. I think one thing to consider is perhaps this is just another casualty in the recent trend of game studios shutting down or downsizing as reported in last week's video. I don't watch Netflix often, but sometimes I find myself wanting to watch a new show. Do you guys have any suggestions for me? Do tell in the comments. Ubisoft is dusting off the old Rayman franchise, and guess who's back? The prodigal son himself, Michael Ansel. Is it Ansel or Ancal? Is stepping into the fray as a consultant. Yeah, the guy who brought us Rayman is the new consultant to ensure quote-unquote consistency within the universe, which is just a fancy way of saying, we want the old magic without the old headaches. So, Ubisoft Montpellier and Milan are playing around with the Rayman brand, which could mean anything from a new game to a remake, or maybe just a really expensive screensaver. They're keeping it vague, but the involvement of Ansel is like a double-edged sword. On one side, you've got the creator's touch, and on the other, baggage of the past controversy. And what controversies, you may ask? Michael Ansel bailed on Ubisoft back in 2020. Wait, what happened in 2020?
I think someone got sick.
Oh, right. Claiming he was off to play with some animals in his own sanctuary. But plot twist. He got caught up in some drama about being a nightmare boss, which given the state of Ubisoft right now, does not mean much. Which he called fake news on social media. Since then, he's been laying low, just popping up to mourn a colleague's passing. Palworld doesn't seem too fazed by Nintendo's lawsuit aimed at them. Covered in previous episodes, the game will be available everywhere. That includes mobile, Steam, Mac, Xbox, and PlayStation. Did you guys ever play the game for John Carpenter's The Thing? The game was a freaking classic. Well, anyways, the game is getting a remaster, and Night Dive Studios just gave us a pretty neat trailer for it. Yeah, okay, it was a slow news week this week, but I hope I was able to maim and entertain. Let me know which news makes you want to commit domestic abuse, which news is going to have you want to feed a whole homeless center, and what news has got you soaring. Let me know in the comments. And also, let me know how you feel about a shorter videos and stuff like that. You know, it's slow news week, so we were able to experiment. It's a new channel. We want to see what you guys like. Catch you in next week's Roundup. Bye-bye.